What's going on, guys? We get a day of reprieve between all of the watch parties. This is going to be my first week ever that I've live streamed all 5 days in a week. Watch party Monday, watch party Tuesday, live stream today, watch party tomorrow, live stream Friday. Got content creator life. Forgive me while I eat some lunch. Cold hot dogs. Because I'm a North Carolina boy. Some people are going to look at that and go, ew. I love it. So we have a lot to talk about today. We have a lot to work on today. I've messed up my home network. It's actually kind of a miracle that I'm able to stream. At any given second, it could on me. But I was hoping to get some networking help. Hopefully Danny or Jason or somebody comes on and can help point me in the right direction, because, man, I need some help. Otherwise, I'm gonna be buried in YouTube videos, really not knowing what I'm looking for. Oh, thank God you're here. Hey, Jason, what's up, man? Forgive me while I'm eating hot dogs. I don't get a lot of break. You guys should see my calendar this week. Oh, yeah, let me turn the music down. Thanks for letting me know, for reminding me of that. Literally about 20 minutes before I got on stream, something felt wonky. So I did a speed test from my PC, and I'm getting normal. So let me baseline this with, normally I get 1 millisecond of ping and 900 megabit per second up and down. Gigabit fiber, gigapower from AT&T, right? I was getting 14 milliseconds and barely over 100 megabit per second up and down. So it's enough. I'm still able to stream, but something wrong somewhere. And I did test it at the edge from the modem directly. It has its own built-in speed test facility, and it's fine. It's a millisecond and 900. So it's my stuff. So, above and beyond that, My 24-port trip light patch panel came in. I've got a whole new punch tool and kit. Haven't had one of those in 15 years. Let's see if I remember how to do punch downs. It's been a minute. But everything... Let me go full screen here. Everything's racked, stacked, cabled for the most part. It looks fantastic. There's literally no sound coming out of that closet. There's literally no heat coming out of that closet. Plenty of airflow. The only thing I've noticed that's getting hot is the SFPs. The GBICs. Getting really, really, like hot to the point that you can't touch them anymore. Like stove is hot, hot. That's concerning. But the MicroTik switch itself and the heatsink element on the back of it, cool to the touch. So something in the transceivers is cooking them things. And I don't know if that's just cheap transceivers. They're those little $50 ones. Rave reviews about them, but... So... let's see what it looks like with me streaming. It's probably going to be just as bad. Probably it's a lot worse. Yeah. I mean, it's trying. It's definitely trying. That's better than it was 20 minutes ago. But yeah, both of those numbers should be up in the 900s. If I look, here's a test I ran right here. 3 millisecond, 976. Something somewhere's choked. And the irony is, the only thing I've really messed with is the BGW10 modem itself and my Eero devices. I was trying to get the pass-through thing to work. But I reset the whole thing. It got to be 5 in the morning and I just couldn't hold my eyelids open anymore, and I reset everything back to where it was. Or did I? That was on Saturday night. The watch parties have gone flawlessly the last couple of days. I haven't even noticed it. And don't get me wrong, that's dream bandwidth for most people. That is not the service level. That is not what I'm paying for. Yeah, so normally my girl's one of them influencer types on Instagram, right? She can't ever be without internet. So I have to use the evenings, and especially Friday and Saturday nights till early in the morning, to if I ever need to take the internet down and things like that. For any long extended periods of time. If it's real quick, not a big deal. But like if I'm going to work on the network for a 4-hour bank, yeah, it needs to be after she's gone to bed. So that's why I was doing that. I was trying to get IP pass-through to work so that I could show you guys what I dug out of the bin. Oh, come here. Pacow! Little 5505 action. So I reset this back to factory. Who knows what configuration was on it from 2010, whatever. It's got a recent enough bin running on it. and I reset it to factory, and I was going to try and get the pass-through stuff to work again this weekend so that the ASA could pull the IP, and then I could just use my Eero mesh stuff as Wi-Fi hotspots, basically. Access points. Streamhouse is going to need dual connections? Yeah. Got to have that redundancy. I mean, hell, at $80 a month, it's a no-brainer. I mean, if money weren't an issue, I'd have a second drop, if they would even allow that, frankly, that would just be dedicated to streaming as a circuit. Use your UBN. Is that Ubiquity that you're referring? What's UBNT? Ubuntu? Okay. To fail over to another ISP I have hooked up, you could hook up. Oh, yeah. The problem is not the ISP. The problem is that piece of shit BGW 210 router modem that wants to be everything. They don't want you to plug anything else into your network. They want to see all your traffic. They want to be the firewall. They want to be the router. They want to be the Wi-Fi access point. They want to be everything. Because AT&T, they want to have all your data. They want to be able to hand it over to the government. They want to be able to sell it to third parties. They want to do all that stuff. And I want nothing to do with any of that. Your job, AT&T, is to hand me an IP address. I got it from there. And the fact that ISPs are starting to make it so difficult to just get that is very telling. Especially as it's degraded over the course of the last decade. It used to just be that way. Charter Spectrum still kind of does that. Like, if you have cable internet, you can still mostly configure it in any way you'd like. This, I don't know why this is such a pain in it. I don't even know why I'm bothering to break this out. I could never do like a persistent VPN through that terrible modem. Because that's the front end. I need this to be the front end. So I did have a conversation over the last couple of months with a colleague on Twitter. He said he called AT&T, said a few key things, and they ended up sending him a different modem that gave more enterprisey SMB kind of capabilities than this home Wi-Fi all-in-one piece of crap. So I've tried to track down an AT&T tech here in the neighborhood. He was not a gigapower technician, so he really couldn't say anything. They have specialty techs that handle the fiber to the house. So I'm still trying to track down. I wrote down the dude's phone number before we ever moved into this place. I had the fiber put in or run to the house so that we could move in with internet. Like, we had internet. I was over here hooking the network up, the home network, and getting everything wired up before we ever moved the first piece of furniture in. So all of that's done. Oh, did I run that and not show you guys? I'm sorry. Terrible streamer. Sorry, guys. Let me just turn that off. I had it in the studio mode. So here's my test that I just ran from my PC. Here's your 3 milliseconds and 900 from the modem directly. It's on my end. So we got to figure that out. So what I've done is yesterday I started a big conversation with a few folks in the Discord. Exclamation Discord if you want to jump in with us. But let me pull that up so I can show you guys the diagram. That's what we're working with here in the house. Well, at least this is sort of the DatacenterDude's data center network, hooking up two Synologies with a combination of two 1 gig switches and a 10 gig switch. I wish I was baller enough to drop $1,000 on a big 48 port, 3548 or something along those lines. But one, I'm not, and two, you have to have the smart contract to be able to get software updates and things like that. Like, even with my old that I purchased, even with my old ASA5505 that I own, I don't have a smart contract for it, therefore I can't update the software. It's running like 8.2 or something like that. It's recent enough. It's hardened enough to where it's not a big deal. But I'd love to get into the, version 9 stuff that's on all the ASAs. Anyway, we've got to update firmware on the SGs, these switches. I want to make sure I'm up to date on the MicroTiks, and then we got to start wiring some of this stuff up and configuring these things. So it really comes down to getting my head around which lags and what's wired to what and what's up and down and all of that stuff. And that was what this diagram was for. It's just a quick doodle of what we're putting together here. So we're going to have the MicroTik 10 gig switch. It's got 4 SFP Plus RJ4 10 base T's in it. We're going to have 2 of those going to the Synology and 2 of those going to this PC here on a separate interface. And that's for 10 gig. We really, technically I could just unplug that from the rest of the network. Now, I definitely need the 1 gigs on the Synology and on my PC to do other stuff, various generic internet traffic. So those have to be uplinked, trunked. And then this Synology only has 1 gig ports, and it doesn't have the expansion slot. It's an older model. It's from like 2013, 14, I think. This is the one we decided to get here on stream where it had both without the expansion card. They're onboard ports, and I love that. I need to get this solved and done this week because I need to move on to the next thing, which is what's going to go in this new Synology. We'll save that for another time. So, my question comes down to where do I am not, full disclosure, I am not a networking guy. I started out that way early in my career in around Y2K. I know enough to understand what I'm looking at, but I don't have all the commands memorized. I don't, I know you can tab out a lot and you can question mark a lot in iOS and various NXOS and things like that. But when you get into objects, network objects and things like that in an ASA, you get into some of the more advanced stuff, access versus trunk ports and things like that. That's where you starts to go over my head a little bit. So, what I'm hoping we can get to is what you're looking at on screen here. I'd love to see something like this where I can have all 10 gig traffic from the PC, basically mounted network drives. I'd love to be able to have mounted network drives directly to the PC here. Mounted. Mapped network drives to the PC here, going over the 10 gig link to get to the Synology. Well, I should know how to do that. I feel like I do know how to do that. I think I'm just chicken shit. I think that's really what it comes down to, if I'm being completely honest. So, that's where things are at. Data center looks great. It's running. It's not hot. It makes no noise. Closet over here that it all was in is the table's getting yanked out of it this weekend. Some different shelving's probably going to get put in. All kinds of good stuff. But I need to get this knocked out this week. And it's one of those things where I feel like without somebody holding my hand, I'm shooting into the dark. I'm guessing. But hey, that's how we learn, right? So, yeah, let's go. Let's just do it. So, let's get some stuff pulled up here. How can I do this? let's take a look at the, let's outline the network. So my main switch, the SG300, is, my subnet is 172.16.10. That's the internal subnet I use. And the first switch is 200. The SG350s, I haven't even configured that one yet. And I'm having trouble remembering what I set the MicroTik to at this point. I need to document all of this, is the other part of it. So I'm going to start making some notes, because I've haphazardly sort of thrown this together over the last couple of weeks, as you guys have watched. You guys have been a part of this. But now that it's all in the racks, and now that the hands-on part is over, it's time to get serious. So let's go SG300 is dot 172. Why is this pin dying? Come on. 172.16.10 200. And do I have anything on? Is the MicroTik 201? It is. Okay. So 201 is the MicroTik. I might want to change that. Just making notes here. Or we could just make the SG350 202. That probably works too. Just as good. 1610 202. Oh, let me do administrator. Why is it so large? It's ridiculous. Nope. Good. Oh, the other thing I wanted to show you guys. Let me get back into 210. No, not 210. 210 is the Synology. 201. That's the other good thing to write down. So Syn 1813 is 172. Come on, pen. Don't die on me now. 172.16.10.210, and the 1817 is 172.16.10 to 11. So that's those. We've got Enterprise and Voyager. You need DNS in your life? Hadn't got there yet. It's a good use for one of these 27 Raspberry Pis I've got sitting around. But we'll get there. Why isn't it coming up now? No, stop. Why does it keep going? Come on, man. Work with me, Chrome. Oh, that's right. Really? I could have swore the password. Is it my big crazy long one? Yeah, it is. Okay. Listen, let me know when you guys have a DNS server running at your house. If you do, I will eat that crow. But yes, I 100% agree with you. That's phase 2. Of course you do, Jason. Steven, on the other hand, if Steven has one, I'll be impressed. What? No, you don't. You have a DNS server for all your local LAN devices to resolve? Anyway. So right now, let's see. We're in layer 2 mode on the SG300-10. This is 10.200. There is literally not a lot of configuration on here other than there's one VLAN there is, where is port management? There it is, link aggregation. And I've got one lag with two members, 2 ports. This used to be 4, but I ran out of ports on the switch and needed them, so there's no reason to have 4 ports. Pi-hole does DNS, DHCP for me because I can't change the external. Yeah, no, I would love to have something internally. You know, we'll put that on the list of things to do. Pi-hole has definitely been on my radar the last year or two. Okay, cool. Thanks, man. So this is all we're really doing in the SD300 currently. It's got one lag, and it's running LACP, and it's going to the Synology. The 1813, the old one. So, what can I do here? That means I got to take that switch back out of the rack. I was thinking about... I have to console into that switch. I've got a long console cable that's USB, but I'd have to yank it out and bring it over here. I don't have any way to save my... Yeah, cable's not long enough. Let me show you guys something real quick. So, being a Mac guy, well, actually any kind of PC guy right now, it's hard as hell to find anything that's got a DB9 port on it anymore. So, I took a flyer on one of those updated USB cables, you know, console cables, specifically made for consoles. And I literally plugged it into my Mac last night, did a /dev star USB to see what TTYs they were coming up as, and then you can just do a screen space /dev/TTY 9600, bang, connected right up. $15, $12. I'm going to order 18 more of them because they're like 10 millimeter sockets. You can never find them when you need them. But I highly recommend this one. I'll put a link to it up at some point if you guys are interested. But finally, no more adapters. No more USB to DB9 adapters. No more very overpriced console cables. Even though the Switch came with one. I'm sure I'll lose it within the next month. Okay. So I need to get... I've done no configuration on the SG350 yet. So if I'm looking at my diagram, I need to do a NIC team here on the PC. And I need to do a lag... Well, let's not even bother with that yet. This also has my PC plugged into it. This switch. And I'm trying to think of how I could, short of taking the switch out of the rack and bringing it over here to the PC and consoling into it, I'm trying to figure out how I could possibly get that up on screen so that we can configure it here. I guess theoretically I could jump over there, you know, flip the camera over to this and just put myself on screen for a few minutes while I console in, set the password, and give it an IP address. And then we could remote to it like this. Yeah. All right. Bear with me a sec, guys. This will only take a minute. Let me switch the screen around here so we can, we'll do that. A little bit of that. But, yeah. Hang out and enjoy the music for a minute. I'm going to get this consoled in and just get it an IP address, and then we can put it up on screen here. Alright, you guys should be able to hear me. These new SG350s also have front USB ports, which is handy. Come on. But they don't have front console cable ports, and I wish they would get their head around that. Of course, it's on the other side. Come on. All right, so what is it? Can't remember. No, what are you doing? Silly goose. It's terminal, and it was so you do ls-ltr and then /dev/star USB star, and that'll give you a list of them. And it gives you your TTY, so then you do screen /dev/ TTY.USB serial. I think you have to do /dev/TTY, .USB, and then you put 9600 for the baud. And we're in. Username Cisco, should be no nope, maybe it's Cisco. Yep, we're in. Enter new username. New password. Confirm. Successful. Alright, we're in, and we're automatically enabled. Everything's good. So IP adder. I have to do a conf T on these? Yep. IP adder 172.16.10. What did I say? 201? No, 202. Uh-oh. Why is backspace isn't working? Anyways, I just can't make any mistakes. IP adder 172.16.10.202. Damn it. Fat fingers. I hate these Mac keyboards so much. You really can't mess anything up. IP ADDR 172.16.10.202. Subnet mask. Unrecognized command. Show int brief. What? Conf T. Oh, come on. Show run. You can't do a show run? There it is. Uplink none VLAN. Okay, so host name SG350-10 unrecognized. So conf T host name SG350. There we go. And then still in conf T IP interface status. Show int status. No. See, this is where I feel like I'm failing myself and I'm chicken shit because I can't even remember the command. It's been so long. I can't remember the command to give my switch an IP address at the command line. Maybe you guys are telling me and I'm not watching. Let's see here. The audio sounds good though. Okay, so let's do SG350 IP address. Quickstart. Here's the Quickstart guide. Before you begin, blah blah blah. Here's how to mount it, blah blah blah. Okay. Connect the computer to any network port if the switch is using the default. So maybe instead of doing the console cable, I just do, it'll pull a network IP. Let's see what happens. So we'll drop that. We'll plug it into port 1. Nothing else plugged into the network from that switch. And we'll see if it pulls an IP address. It did not. It gave me a 169. It did not. Can I remote to that laptop from your PC? No. I'm intentionally keeping it gapped. I don't want it on the network so that I can use it as more of a console machine. But the switch that I'm trying to get into, brand new out of the box, should be giving my computer, I thought, a DHCP address, but it's not. So, back in with my console cable. What I need to find here is what the command is. All I need to do on this switch is get it a static IP, a management IP address, and then we can jump back on the PC and do the rest of the configuration. And I'm trying to remember, it's not show int status. Show int status. For some reason my backspace isn't working. Something's wrong with the emulation. Show int status. So I'll have to look at this in a minute, Jason. It's a zip. We'll have to see what's going on. Is that what I think it is? From a particular SmartNet that happened to be a .bin file? Okay, let me console port. Okay. Switch features. So it says, configuring your switch using the web interface. To access the switch with a web-based interface, you must know the IP address that the switch is using. The switch uses the factory default of 192.168.1.254. Okay, so maybe it doesn't have DHCP on, but I can manually set an IP on the laptop. That way, maybe that lets us in. So we know what it is. It's good old 192.168.1. I'll just go 150. And 255, 255, 255, 0. Okay. Apply. Now I go 192.1.254. Yay! All right. So we're in, but we're locally in. Give me 1 second so I can change some IP addresses around. Cisco. Is it blank? Great. The default's supposed to be Cisco. Default username is Cisco. Default password is Cisco. Cisco. Log in. Invalid username or password. Did I change that already? Oh, I did change that on the initial setup on the console. So admin. All right, we're in. Never save. All right, so I need to go to dashboard, or I need to go to, let's see, getting started VLAN, launch before initial setup of the switch. All right, we'll go through a little wizard here. IP, I don't want to put any of that in. DNS, so interface. Use this screen to create a new IP interface for the system. The none option will keep the current configuration. I'm fine with that. Next. Well, that didn't. Administration. Oh, come on. Okay, Jason. This should not be this difficult. I'm looking. I'm in the administrative menu now. I'm looking down through everything. IP configuration. Okay, there it is. So edit. I wonder if it's how do I change the IP address? I need to change the IP address of the switch. It doesn't seem to want to give me static VLAN 1 static IP address. It's not going to let me change. It doesn't give me a place where I can actually change the IP address. So let's do a little Googling. Cisco SG350 change IP address. Change adapter settings. Click on change adapter settings on the left of the pane. Select IPv4 on properties. Click on use the following IP address. What if I add static IP address 172.16.10, and we wanted to call this 202, 255.255.255.0, and we'll just put it in VLAN 1, hit apply. Already has a dynamic. Adding the static will delete the dynamic from the internet joint. Yes. Delete it. Okay, let me check one thing real quick. Nope. Okay. So I have to change my actual address here. So 172.16.10. So let's go 150 again. Apply. So now I should be able to close that window. Let's go 172.16.10.202. Okay, good. We're back in. And once I confirm this is done, we can plug it into the other switch, trunk them up, and then we'll go back to the workstation over there. All right, so let me just make sure I did ping. There wasn't anything on 202. Timed out. Okay, so now we can take where's that one going? Nowhere. Awesome. Beautiful. Great. That one's going down to the net gear that we're going to patch panel. And that's coming into this one. And I think I want to move that one over one. And that one over there. So we're going to go port 8 to port 8. So let's go out the back. Hopefully I didn't just break the stream. Should recover. And actually, yeah, that's fine. We can come out this one. And we'll go back up into port 8. And we should have uplink there. All right, so now we ping. Okay, I'm gonna switch the scenes here. Now, theoretically, we're good. So now if I pull up 202, we're up. Nice. Okay. It was interesting. It wouldn't let you change the default IP address. It would let you add a new one, right? So here's what I was looking at. So right here, it turned off. I had to add a new one, a new VLAN 1 IP address. Yeah, that's fine. Never. So I had to add this one before it would get rid of the other ones. Cool. Save. I'm not sure I like those pop-ups, but whatever. All right, so let's go back to the dashboard. Wizards. Don't really need wizards. Who needs a wizard? So on the SG350, what did we say? We were going to have one lag coming in for the 1817. So if we're going to create a link aggregation group, or we're going to edit this one, right? And we'll call it SYN 1817. And we'll put ports 1 and 2 on the switch to the 1 gigabit ports on the Synology. All right. And we'll just put that there. To permanently save the configuration file. Fine. Close. So we've got that one done. We can probably jump over there and cable that up. And then what else did I think we just had to... We've got the uplink port. So where is status? We've got the uplink port on port 8 going to the other SG300 switch. And then we've got, that's about it. If we want to look at interfaces, yeah, so we're moving traffic. I mean, we're administering it now from the PC here. So we're in good shape. Cool. There's really not that much more to do. This switch is so capable. But as far as getting things up and running, that's kind of it. So user accounts, that's fine. That's not right. Let's just leave it on UTC. That's fine. Just doing a quick look over here. Why do I feel like there was something... No, I'm not going to be able to get to that, am I? All right. So let's wire those two cables real quick. They're just 1 gigs, so they don't have to be anything special. But let's get that lag wired up so we can actually get back into the Synology. I haven't wired that guy back up yet. So switching back to this one. Yes. All right. Okay. Had a bunch of 5-pack Cat 6 blue 3 feet. I think that's enough. Yeah, that's enough. So we need 2 of those. So I love doing color-coded cables. Typically I'll do blue for access and red for interlinks. I also like to use green for servers. That's always been my sort of color coding that I use. But it's smart to do that, and that way you can sort of organize, you can see at a glance what's going on if you have one in your head that you like to use. Also be sure to include that in like your documentation when you're doing stuff, because you always have to, when you're doing DR documentation and stuff, you have to, and run books, you have to think about Nick gets hit by a bus. Somebody that's never seen this before is gonna come in and look at it. So there's one. Is that gonna be long enough? Yeah, should be. I wanted to get shorter run cables so that we weren't dealing with a bunch of stuff. You guys like my mock crash cart here? A little stand-up desk? It's gonna come in handy. Alright. So, put these guys in. Don't need this console cable anymore. You can come out. And 17, I believe, is on the bottom. So, let's go behind. Ooh, that's not going to be enough, is it? I might have to get some 5-footers to really clear that. We'll come up from behind right here, and we'll jump into. Let's make sure we got the right one. So let's make the top one there port 1. Alright, get that guy in. We'll take the bottom one, and that'll be port 2. Alright. Let's see what we got. So there is a utility. I don't need DSM. Synology Assistant, that's what it is. And we're scanning. There it is, Voyager. Yeah. I think because I've got the... Is the MicroTik unplugged? Maybe? It is. All right, let's see if that helped. There it is. Okay, it woke up. So if I need to... Can I get to it now? Can I ping it now? No. Okay. Well, I mean, we've really done nothing. I mean, I've gotten in there and initialized a bunch of drives. Sure, that works. 111. Oh. 111 is my machine. Wonder if there was a conflict. We'll see. Of course. Of course. Why would you work? Why would you just work? What are we doing? What's up, Chris? We are doing a myriad of things. We're working through the process of putting this in motion, which is basically the home little data center setup. We've got 3 switches, 2 Synologies, a PC, and a partridge in a pear tree. So what we're doing is I'm initializing a new switch, a new SG350. We're going to get that configured. Basically, it's just got a single lag on it, and everything else is just access ports. And then we've got the other switch that we've got to remediate a couple of things on. Right now, I'm trying to get the Synology, the new Synology connected up. It's being difficult. Reasons why are befuddling to me. I'm pretty sure. This is it. No, it is definitely not Nexus. Frankly, I'd have a better time getting around in that than I would iOS. I haven't touched iOS in a really, really, really long time. NXOS, I got around in a little bit because I managed the top of rack stuff. Somewhat. At least in the beginning. Yeah, I don't need to do anything else, Chris. That's kind of the point. Like, it's done. Like, we got an IP address and we've got the one lag that we needed to set up done. Like, there's nothing much else to do. You're back, Jason, just in time. Well, I got it up. Here's the here's the 350. The interesting thing that I had to figure out was under administration. Where was it? Where was it? Now I've lost it already. Anyway, it wouldn't let me change a port, so I had to add a new VLAN, basically, that was a static instead of a dynamic. And then it just wiped out the other stuff, and now we have a static. So, we're good. Yes, Chris, to your point, could you SSH into it? Absolutely. I was consoled into it just a minute ago over on the other camera before you got here. But I just wanted to get this up here on the PC so we could see it. So now... the tricky thing is I'm trying to get old Voyager back. The map drive is working. But I can't seem to get to... Am I missing something? Do I need to do the 5001? So the other Synology is a 210. If I go to it, it auto redirects to 5001, port 5001, and I'm in. Stupid caps lock. Fat fingers. So here's Enterprise. It's 210, and then Voyager is 211, and it's being a brat. Let me try something else. One sec. All right, let's leave that running for a sec. Oh, no. Oh, nope. I thought I had it. Is there a refresh? Interesting. Interesting. So there is a way to get to this because I've configured drives in this thing before. I wonder if it has to do with the switch. Let me try to change the port. Stop paying attention when my phone rings. Still not back. Okay. So this is where I'm having an issue right now, is getting into... I wonder if it's because I gave the 10 gig port the 211 IP address. How do I get back into this thing now? 111 over here, by the way, is this PC. Okay, one sec. Okay, so all basically I've got the one of the 1 gig LAN ports plugged in right now on the new Synology, and it's not connecting. I think what I mistakenly did wrong was I plugged in Ah, see? You see? Now we're pulling a DHCP. Okay. I think what I did wrong was I gave the 10 gig port the IP address I wanted for this network. Now we're cooking. All right, so if I go to 185 that it pulled from DHCP, now we can fix this. Now we can fix this. Okay. Oh, what's the update? We'll do that later. So what I want to do is I want to do 2 bonds. I want to bond to the 2 1 gigs and bond to the 2 10 gigs. So we're going to bond 1 and 2, which are both 10 gigabit ports. So we're going to create bond. We're going to do 802.3. 1 and 2. I'm thinking we're going to do a different network for the 10 gig stuff. So I'm going to call that 172.16.20, and we'll call it .100. Okay, and this will be the Synology 1817 bond. So 172.16.20 at 100. 255, 0 gateway. Fine. DNS server. Don't really need it. Don't know if you can do it on the Synologies, but when you're working with switches routers, set a reload in 10 before you make any changes that you think might drop you out. No, I'm not. I'm not at that point yet. Let's undo that MTU value for right now. And I think that is still going to allow us to get to... We don't really need DNS, but fine. Right now, I really just want to segment the network portion. But if I do this, I'm going to need a route statement somewhere to route the traffic. Actually, it's probably not going to let me do that, is it? Yeah. What I don't want is 10 gig, 9,000 MTU traffic broadcasting across all the switches. So am I going to have to get a router in here? I guess I could turn the L3 functionality on in the SGs. But I really need to connect to these VLANs as well. Or I could just use VLAN tagging. And leave it all on the .10 subnet. Pros and cons. That's what it really comes down to. Yeah, I mean, I almost just want to leave the gateway blank, but it's going to force me to set something, right? It's not going to let me. If it lets me do this, I'll be impressed. Ah, it did. Okay. So basically, we're bonding the 2 10 gig ports on the back of the Synology. We're going to bond the 2 1 gig ports as well. And then we can plug those in. Well, I want to set the IP address. I guess it doesn't matter, actually. It's not going to matter. They won't broadcast out further than that. Then management on the MicroTik of the same VLAN as the rest of your network. Yep. Yep. Or it's not even the same VLAN. It's the same subnet. It's going to be segregated to the subnet. You don't even have to worry about VLANs. Because I don't want traffic on the .20 going out over the .10 at all. Like, there's no reason for it to. Is that a fair statement? Am I thinking about that the right way? So bond 1, there we go. Can I just get rid of that? No? Okay. So bond 1 is our 10 gig. It's got a .20.100 IP address. I guess we can set that to whatever we want it to be. All right. So now what I need to do is jump into the MicroTik. And we're in switch mode, and I need to go to lag. And I need active. Apply. First time doing this on... And is there an LACP? This is my first time really So there's my transceivers. There's my SFPs. Port isolation is pretty cool. So basically I can take all the other interfaces down. So basically we're just using the first 4. That one we need. Interesting. Okay. There's no other... Huh. Okay. There's no other settings for lag? You're not specifying which ports? All right, well, shit. Let's see what happens. Because now I know I can get into the Synology properly. Let me plug those 2 cables in. Be right back. Bear with me one sec, guys. Gotta get a fresh cable. Okay, bond lit up connected. All right, so that's good. And now we should be having over here partner. So this is where it comes into, you know, learning the MicroTik switch. So at the end of the day, I like normally I'm used to giving this a lag group ID and specifying, like with Cisco, you specify the interfaces that are part of the lag, the link aggregation group. And then it's an additional setting to enable. Looks like the lag. Yeah, so I just plugged it in. The difference on this one, Chris, on the MicroTik, you know how normally on a Cisco switch, let's go over and show them. So here. On a Cisco, I need to get all my passwords. Oh, boy. On a Cisco switch, you go into port management, link aggregation, lag management, and you have a lag, and when you do it, you specify which interfaces are a member of that lag. Right? You can give the lag a name, you can give it a number, all that stuff. In the MicroTik, you're just setting passive, active, static. In static, it will set a group number. Okay. Okay. So we'll do 25. Well, okay. Maybe not 25. Maybe 2. Apply. LACP mode is doing it via negotiation. Okay. Is LACP mode the active mode? It would almost be better to do it in active mode if that's the case, because I want that dynamic nature of it. Is that the difference here? Short of me digging the manual out, I feel like this is the... I almost want to do it as active. Let's leave it active, see what happens. Okay. So here we go. We got 2 LANs, 10 gig, .20 subnet. Yeah, I like active. It feels more legit. If that doesn't really make any sense. All right, so we'll leave the MTUs at 1500 for now. Let's not start mucking around with jumbo frames and all those different configurables at each endpoint, at each interface. Okay. Network management. That's new. That's something I don't have on the 300. Okay, so we got 1 lag. If I'm looking at our diagram again, the 1 lag, this is really only 2 ports, not 4. And I can do this NIC team later when I'm not streaming to the PC. I need to do my 2 runs, my long runs to the MicroTik as well. I need to do the 1 gig bond to this on the Synology. So let's go to the 350. Did I change that one? All right. Now I got to get all these lined up. So link aggregation, lag management. Okay. Interesting that it's graying that out. What is protected lag? Anybody know? This makes the lag a protected port for layer 2 isolation between interfaces share the same VLAN. A protected port does not forward any traffic to other protected port on the same switch. Got it. So is that kind of what I was describing I wanted to happen? We're just not really dealing in VLANs. We're gonna physically isolate things with lag groups. Am I saying that the right way? Please call me out if I'm not. You guys are way more versed in this stuff than I am. So on 350, I want to plug in ports 1 and 2. Where's my... I got another thing open? Yeah. Nope. Let's close some of this stuff down. Yeah. So, Jason, in your opinion, this is the lag for the 1 gig ports coming from the 1817 to the 350. I know it's overkill, but I'm the king of overkill. But I really want it for the configuration and the experience and doing those kinds of things. So, and for the redundancy, frankly. Bad cable, bad interface, bad switch. Realistically, I should be doing the lags between the two switches if I wanted to do this the right way. But that's neither here nor there. So the question is whether to enable protected lag. For this. Oh, you guys can't see that. I'm sorry. You wouldn't use a protected feature? Okay. We'll try it without. So close. I was going to say it should be run each... Yeah. I understand a lot of the hypocrisy I'm working in right now, but hang with me, guys. Let's not try to nitpick. Let's try to get it up and running and not try to nitpick too much. That's really what the goal is here. We could go round and round about design philosophy and all of that stuff all day. But ideally, I'd like to just get it up and running, and then we can go back and forth about what we're doing with it. Okay, so Synology 1817 1 gig is going to go in... What ports? Oh, I'm in the wrong one. 1 and 2. Keep it simple. Yeah. Okay, so let me plug in 1 and 2. And then I think we need to go over here and build a bond. So let's do that first, actually. We may drop the interface for 1 second. So let me create another bond. 802.3. 3 and 4. 211. All that looks great. Letting great get in the way of good. That's funny. Yep, all that looks great. So it might disconnect us here for just a second, but it should come back. And it's back already. How are you guys liking the new stream beats? A little more upbeat. God, I've already been streaming an hour and a half? Holy shit. I hadn't got shit done today. Come on. You can do it. It's moving. There we go. So now we should have a 1 gig bond. Network interface. Is it bond? Yeah, so that's... So can we rename that? Edit? Can I change the name of that? It won't let you name it, will it? That sucks. Anyway, it doesn't matter. This is a set it and forget it kind of thing. So let me plug another cable in. Or let me plug these into the SG350. And let's see what happens. See if it comes up. See if I'll lose it altogether. So I'm going to I'll put this up on screen, and I'm going to switch the camera over to the other side while you guys can see me working. So here we go. Well, we came back up for a second, it looks like. Is it just, is it monkeying around with the negotiation? Uh-oh. Can I still get to the... Nope, it's not happy. All right, so we got something off somewheres. And I'm wondering if it's the... Oh, LACP disabled. Why is it disabled? There's 1 and 2. Sure. Why is it disabled? So that's my other one that's working. Why I can't check that is beyond me. Did you bond ports on the same ASIC? Yeah. I didn't span switches. This is exactly the same as I've got the other one configured as well. Yeah, I don't think it's a 10-port switch. 2 of which are SFP ports that I'm not using. So 8 ports. Uh-oh. Interesting. So all I did was create a bond. It still worked after we created the bond on the Synology. It wasn't until... I think I'm fired. Actually. No, I'm not. Status. Where is... Yeah, my uplink's there. Let's make sure... I need to make sure that... I think all of these are set to trunk ports anyway. So, I mean... something's off here. Let's see. I think they're down here, Chris. It is 202, right? Yeah, okay. So it might not be enabled. I don't know if that's enabled by default or not. So it is administratively up. Auto-negotiated, max capability. What's really got me thrown for a loop is I've never had a lag on one of these switches not let me enable LACP. See if it comes back. Yeah. One sec. So, okay. So it came back. So that means it's an 802.3 AD thing probably. It's probably the fact that I can't turn LACP on for that lag is throwing me for a loop. Why is that grayed out on me? I've never had that happen on the other 300 before. I've had multiple lags going, all with LACP on. Cisco SG350 LACP grayed out. What's in the lag settings page? No, it's not licensed. Nor does it require them. I mean, yeah, that's what I was thinking too, Ninja, is recreating the lag altogether. I hear you, Chris. I can't get to the command line just yet. It's not letting me SSH to it for some reason. So I want to try... Let's do lag management. Let's do edit. Let's try to pull the interfaces back out. Let's apply that. You gotta be shitting me, Smalls. You gotta be shitting me, Smalls. Thank you, Ninja. You and I, it's funny. I was going down that same path, and I am digging into the 8 years of memory banks, but I feel like I ran into this the first time on the 300 too. No shit. No shit. Who'da thunk it? And there was the little reset. It looks like. So. Chris, before we celebrate, yeah, I agree with you. Let's do a little... all right, still up. Let me go plug the other interface back in, and we'll continue to celebrate. All right, looks like we're still going. Oh, switch that back. Okay, that was it. LACP enabled, send 1G, there we go. There we go. And realistically, other than some administrative bullshit, that's really all I've got to configure on this switch. I need to take all of those other ports and turn them into access ports. And there was much rejoicing. And the peasants rejoiced. Thanks, Cisco, for making that sillier than it needed to be. But I guess in a way it makes sense. It's part of the port initialization, I believe. So if you don't tick the box when you before you add the interfaces, yeah, I get it. What are other things that are general? Like, that's all I really feel like I need to do. I don't feel like I really even need spanning tree on. But who wants to mess with that right now? Let's take a look at the MicroTik link. Where was the traffic stats? Let's make sure I can still get to my H drive. Uh-oh. That's not happy. Maybe I need to remount that. If I ping... That's weird. Yeah. If you don't enable DNS, mistyped in the CLI, end up becoming exercises in host resident. Yeah, I get get it. So I need to stop. Just don't crash my computer, please. Windows. Come on. Oh my God. Just don't touch it. I know. I know. Just let me do my thing. Right? Want to disconnect it? Shut up, Steven. There, it's gone. Okay. So now let me go. Let's get a new window here, and I want to go whack whack. Actually, as a matter of fact, I don't have my... Here's the other thing we need to do that I'm scared to do while I'm streaming, by the way. So this will actually be better. Before we start messing with map drives and stuff like that. The other thing we need to do... Close assistant. Close assistant. Let's clean house a little bit. What else we got open? Just the MicroTik. Okay. We need to look at... Oh, God, no, not that. We need to look at the Weenders. So, Wi-Fi is disabled. VPN, meh. So, my X540 interfaces here. We can team those. We can probably do this while we're on stream. We can team these guys. And those are my two 10 gig ports. And we can set that up. Connect your PC to the 10 gig. Yeah, man. I'm just manually configure the host adapter and don't include a gateway. Yep, exactly. How do you even do this in Windows 10? I haven't done a team in Windows 10 yet. Can you still do that in the bridge connections? Is that what it is? What? Is that what they call teams now? Did they rename that? Good old Nick teaming? Is that called Network Bridge now? Use the Intel All right, I'm gonna delete this. I don't trust that at all. All right, and here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna give these some names. We're gonna clean house here. So this is my actual internet connection right here. We're gonna call this, this computer's name is Klingon. So we're gonna call it Klingon 1G. Call it 1GA. And then I think the other one is that one or that one. Either way. So we'll call this Klingon. I think this thing's called Klingon 10GA. We'll call this Klingon 10GB. Let's see. All right, so Intel NIC software. You have to download Microsoft Teams. A separate download for teaming software isn't required or available. Okay. So I've got my Intel driver and support assistant. I've got my Intel Thunderbolt software. Teaming features. Link in Discord. Thank you. I guess if installing network drivers kills the stream, I'll see you guys in Discord. I'm not excited about this, Jason. I'll be honest. It's going to update the drivers, and it's going to clip the connection. I swear I have this installed already, too, by the way. Maybe not. I could have sworn I did that. That's graphics. That's driver updates. That's onboard graphics. Okay. It's your fault if the stream drops. You know that, right? I'm just going to blame it on... It's all on you, man. And yes, I think they are onboard Intel NICs. See you guys on the flip side. It's back. So yeah, it did take it down. But we're installed. Okay. It's just the 4 or 5 of you. It's fine. Oh, 7 of you in here now. Wow. Hi. All right, so it looks like it's back. Everybody back. Let me refresh my YouTube window over here to make sure. Blurry as hell. It might take a second. Also, you might have to check the gear down at the bottom and set it to 1080p. Okay, where were we? Network. No. All right. So, walk me through this, Jason. It's Intel adapter configure it. Really? Are you kidding me? So basically, we want to take the 2 X540s and put them in a team. You mean like Linux is done since the beginning, Chris? I guess technically not since the beginning. When did sudo come around? Or privilege elevation in general? Yeah. Actually, I think that goes back further than Linux. Never used this before. I want to create a team of those two. Teams must contain at least one Intel adapter supporting ANS. Okay, so this is a single card in a PCI expansion card with 2 10 gig NICs. X540 chipset cards, right? We'll say Klingon 10G. We want link aggregation, I'm assuming. I mean, load balancing is nice, but link aggregation is all of the above. Yeah. Am I right about that? I'm 92% sure that I'm right about that. It's fault tolerance and load balancing. Yeah. Not one or the other. Okay. Primary adapter? Sure. Sure. All right. Man, that's kludgy ass software. There we go. Okay. So now we plug in some cables. Or we need to go over on the... No, we don't plug in cables yet. We need to go over on the MicroTik. What? And I need to set 3 and 4 as active as well. Apply. Now configure that NIC in Windows for IP addresses. Yep, okay. So let's go to network settings, change adapter options, Klingon 10G. Why is it not showing up as a adapter? The MicroTik is a 8-port 10 gig switch. It's their cloud switch. Whatever you call it. Cloud router switch. Router cloud switch router. So I can see team here. But am I just blindly missing something? Where is the actual team? Yeah, 1 second, Chris. Will it not come up and show up as an interface until I plug a cable in? Is that what's going on, Jason? All right, 1 sec. All right, that was one of them. Let's see which one's lit up. Of course it was B. 1 second, let me do the other one. Not that it really freaking matters. It didn't name it stupid Windows. It's listed under the interface type as Klingon 10G. Where are you seeing that? Sometimes the stream bot also might get you. Oh, there it is. So we'll call it Klingon 10G team. Aha. All right. Gotcha. So it just did a Windows thing and just named it next numbered interface. Don't show the diagram for your sake. You're on another... Okay. So now we can look at the MicroTik. We're plugged in. I guess that's all we're going to show. Stats. That's a lot of traffic. Jesus. Something's sending some traffic. What in the world? All right. So theoretically, we should be able to. Now we need to enter. Now we need to babadabada. We need to IP this guy. So we called the other one. The Synology bond was .100, so I'm gonna call. So we'll do 172.16.20.110, and that'll be the PC 10 gig bond. So 172.16.20.110, and we'll leave everything else blank. Yeah. Yeah, it's a top of rack. Think of it like a Nexus 55 whatever at the top of the rack. That's really what it is. And I initially I was just going to do a direct wire up to the Synology from the PC. You know, just a little layer 2 link. But then I started thinking about, like, I might want to do other stuff too. So I want to go ahead and get this configuration going. So if I ever wanted to add any other 10 gig devices, there are potentially some other devices capable of supporting 10 gig coming for me to demo / make content about. So this is good. This is good work. This is healthy work to be doing. Change the binding order. You talking about in the teaming software? Oh, well, just hang on a second. I'll just plug the other cable in, and it won't be an issue. 1 second. This was going to take a second ago because it's big 50-footer. I think it's 50-footer. Yeah. I'm going to have to run this one all the way around the room from the PC, so I got a little bit of extra slack. The priority that Windows gives your interface. I'm not sure what you're referring to, brother. The 1 gig that I'm using is just the onboard Ethernet that's on the motherboard. There's 2 of them on there. And it's also got its own onboard Wi-Fi. I think it's that one. I'm not sure what you're referring to, brother. The interface metric here? I'm not sure you have to do that anymore. I remember having to do that shit back in the NT4 Windows 2000 days, but I don't know that you have to do that anymore, man. I know what you're referring to. I just haven't seen it in a Windows network interface in a long time. Maybe the Intel Advanced Services? I don't know. No. Let me plug this other cable in. Otherwise, you can get the default routes bound to the interface. That doesn't. Yeah, totally get that. I don't think we're gonna have that problem though. But I know what you're referring to. But I think that's gonna be in. Did I kill my command? Oh, come on. So everything's going to my default gateway, pretty much. What I am going to need to do is say anything that goes to .20, but ultimately at the end of the day, I think they'll just talk to each other because there is no gateway. It'll get rejected if it tries to go out to 10. Am I right about that? If it's .20, it doesn't have a gateway. It can only talk to things that's on its local network. And eventually, I'll be able to remove the uplink from the MicroTik switch altogether. So there's true isolation between the Synology and this PC. So there's your metrics. 20.110 is 271. That looks pretty good to me. Let me get this other cable in. Let's make sure that works. That the team works. Okay. So both of them are plugged in. Active. Good. All right, we can get rid of that. And get rid of that. So now we've got everything IP'd up. Looks like the lag. Good. Trunk 1, trunk 2. Nice. That's kind of what I was looking for. It's numbering itself. And we've got our partner Max for the trunk. Beautiful. Good job, MicroTik. You know, that's one of those things you always had to kind of manually do, if I remember right. But they're just like, F you, I'll just do it for you. Fantastic. So now if I go to whack, let's just try Voyager. Does it pull anything up? Probably not. If I go whack 172.16.20.100. Now we can map that one. I believe it was H. Okay. You guys ready for the test? Let's watch the stats. Do I still have that Ubuntu image on my desktop? No, I do not. Okay. Well, what do I have that's a big file? Excuse me while I sneak over here and try to find a big file. Actually, download Ubuntu. Let's put it into desktop. All right, looks like it's gonna take 5 minutes, so we can check around some things while that's going, and then we can do some little performance testing. Because that is a 2.5 gig file. What? Come on. Oh, it's still connect. Oh, that's the switch. Where's my... Okay. Let's double check on our bonds over here. Network. Bond 1. So the other thing we've got to check on is we've still got 1500 MTUs. That's like one more little dial that we can turn. I just really want to make sure it's doing a good enough job here. That bond looks like it's doing all right now. Nice. All this is coming together, guys. About halfway there. One more minute on the ISO, and then we can do some simple Windows SMB testing. I think we're kind of done with the switches. Those can go away. So what we'll do is the same test on the Enterprise Synology, and then we'll do the test on the Voyager because I've got map drives for both. All right. So desktop, almost there. Almost there. Finish. All right. So we're just going to do a copy, and we're going to pull it up on Enterprise. And I'm just going to paste it in, and let's see what we get. What we expect about 100 to 115 megabytes per second. Over 1 gig. And I mean, it's flat. It's steady. Nice. So even right there over 1 gig, that lets me know that that's really solid. There's not a lot of drops happening. I like the way that looks good. Now, for the moment of truth, we're going to hit paste right here. And we're going to copy from my desktop on my PC, and we're going to copy it to the 10 gig switch. Or sorry, the 10 gig Synology. That is significantly faster. It's not as fast as I would like it to be, but that's most likely an MTU issue. Still, 300 megabytes per second is nothing to shake a stick at. That's fantastic. So, now what we need to start doing is going hop to hop, point to point, and we need to trace all the way through from my desktop to the interfaces on the switch to the Synology, both ports all the way through, all 4 ports on the switch, and set those MTUs to max. So let's start with my PC. And we're only going to do it on the team. No, I believe that. So, oh, I found instructions on how to do this at the command line, but let's see if we can do this somewhere. Is it in advanced? Probably not. Windows 10, change MTU. Yeah. That's what I was looking for. So the question I always get lost in is that Cisco has a different MTU size because of the packets and frames. What I don't know, and what I could use some help with, Chris, Jason, anybody that knows this stuff, how do I find what MTU size to set on a device? If I'm looking at the Synology, it tells me what my options are. Right? So I can I can go up to 9,000 on the Bond. Let's go ahead and set that. Sure. So how do I max that? Where is the setting and what do I do on the Cisco switch? Right? Enable jumbo frame, the MTU. Okay, do you enable jumbo frame somewhere? Is there a separate setting? We did, Steven, but it never worked properly. Because I think, and things have changed now with the switch layout and all that stuff. I think it's 9216 on the Cisco side. It's either that or like 9148 or something like that. It does it itself when you change that. Okay. Just wanted to make sure. So, Voyager, 10 gig, Synology, done. The next hop is the MicroTik. And I think we need to go to the interface. $9,000 for devices, $92.16 for logical interfaces. Okay. MicroTik, SWOS, MTU. The MTU is not able to be configured on SwitchOS. However, there's a table which helps to know if CRS or CSS support jumbo frames. Actually, you can find it here. Jumbo frame support, CRS 1.10.2.18. So I guess it just supports it out of the box on the MicroTik side. Up to 10.2.18. System, does it tell me my model number? 309. So I have a CRS 309. And so that is CRS 326.317. So let's operate until we see differently. Let's operate as if that's good to go. So now really it's down to my PC and setting that netsh command. So let's grab this, copy, And I think we got to do it as administrative, if I remember right. Can set it in the Intel software. Okay. I'd rather do that, frankly. Let me run that as administrator. I didn't see a place to do that. No. Team settings current value 1,000. So do you do it on the individual adapters or do you do it on the team? It looks like it's on the individual adapters. Jumbo packet. All right. Will be changed automatically. Okay, so all devices in a team must have the same value for jumbo frames, jumbo packets. Settings for devices in this team will be changed automatically. Cool. So it's going to auto-update both of them. So let's double check that. Jumbo packet, 9014. Okay. 10 gig full duplex. Beautiful. Okay, so theoretically we should see a rather large improvement. Let me get back to where I can see some stats. So copy. Let's see if all of that made a difference. All right. Delete this guy. Oh, God. Come on. Why are you messing with me? The pinwheel of death. It's even mounted via IP address. So is something going on? What in the hell is going on? Jesus Christ. Come on. Looks like it finally recovered. All right. Copy. Paste. Little better. Pretty steady 300 megabytes per second. Not mad at it. Not mad at it. Ideally, I'm trying to remember. It's been so long since I've been an admin. I'm trying to remember what I should be seeing. And I feel like it's about 400. Some VPNs require the... yeah. Chris, I love how you throw out obscure stuff that has absolutely nothing to do with the configuration we're actually working on. I appreciate you, man. Are you sure it's valid? Does what's it doing? Jumbo frame values are the same. So this is, so if I go to system, it's a CRS309. So MicroTik CRS309 jumbo frames. I just want to make sure that there's not some hidden setting. This is from April 2020, too. Router boards. I always forget what their names are. CRS 3... Where's 309? 309. There you go. 10218. So, does that mean it's a default that I don't have to change it? Values can be seen in the interface menu. L2 MTU support is added for all related Ethernet interfaces. All other okay. So I'm guessing but I'm not in Router OS, I'm in Switch OS. That's, again, I'm sitting here going, I didn't Google for Router OS, I Googled for Switch OS. But does it matter? I don't think so. I just want to see it. Show me somewhere where it shows that in the interface. Storm rate. Stats. That's a lot of bytes. Hosts. Nice. Trunk 1, trunk 2. I like how it did that automatically. Here's where I would think I would see it. Is in the actual interface configuration. By the way, I'm not kidding. All 4 of those SFPs are molten hot. The switch itself, cool to the touch. The SFPs, hot AF. That bothers me a little bit. Mirror 2, no. I think we're in good shape, guys. I really do. We've got all the switches up. We've got the 10 gig subnet carved out, the .20. Well, there's theoretical maximums, sure. But I mean, I guess I'm looking what. So my workflow is I want to take all of my USB scratch media that I've got and copy it onto the Synology, and then I want to work directly from the Synology over the 10 gig network. I don't want to use USB drives anymore. I'm tired of them failing on me. I'm tired of losing data, even though I have backups. And yeah, it's great to have USB-C and USB 3.1. It's really fast. Windows will do silly things with smaller files. It takes time for TCP. Sure, I totally get that. What should I expect is the question. That, I mean, with a 10 gig network as robust as we've built here, with LACP, I understand that it's just a fault tolerance kind of thing. What should I be seeing? $10 Gbps in megabytes. No, that's not what I... What does 10 gigabit per second usually deliver in a megabytes per second throughput? That's what I'm trying to figure out. That's what I thought. And I'm way under that. I'm not even half of that. All right, I got to get off here, but I wanted to show you guys one thing first. Are you maxing out your drives? You know what we could do to test it? No, not Mac App Store. Is it only on Macs? Oh, God. This is from 2016. It's included in the desktop video software. Asia. That's the one I was trying to think of. Downloads. So now what we can do is target disk. We can do the NAS settings. Yeah, I think that's all fine. We'll do a little start there. And it's exactly the 100 megabytes per second that we thought. So that's what we were seeing in Windows as well, Jason. So it kind of poo-poos your point there. All right, so there's the 1 gig NAS. So now if we go to NAS 10, I feel like it should be 3 to 4 times that. Yeah, that's better on the reads. It might be those terrible 1 gig green hard drives that are in that thing. Yeah, you know, the more I think about it, they're probably getting a right bottleneck on the controllers on those disks. But I got a solution for that. And if you'll hang tight for 1 second, I want to show you what I got and tell you all about it. Hang tight. Because I got to get out of here. I got work to do. heavy. Bam, bam, bam. Bye-bye. 1 second. Bye-bye. So this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. It's almost like slotted foam where you can put like a whole box of hard drives. So, in cooperation with our good friends over at Western Digital, I'm going to go ahead and crack these guys open, freshly sealed, fresh squeezed. I was sent a quantity of 8 hard drives, 5 of which are the 14 terabyte Red Pros. And 3 of which are the 10 terabyte Red Pros. So, we did this intentionally. I wanted to take advantage of and showcase the Synology hybrid RAID configuration, where you can use drives of different capacities and it will level off, but it'll still use as much of the capacity as possible. It's not gonna like right size down the drives like a normal RAID 6 configuration would do. So we wanted to showcase that. I also wanted to showcase and make a video for what it looks like to hot swap. The reason I put all those 1 terabyte green drives in there to initialize, let me see if I can pull that up for you guys real quick. Yeah. Main window. So if we go look at control panel, no, I want volume, storage manager. If we go look at storage manager and look at storage pool, we've got green 1 terabyte drives in there. Old as dirt. They're from like the late 2000s. They came out of my FreeNAS. I had a 10 drive FreeNAS rig. Still work great. But with 8 1 terabyte drives, I end up with 5.5 terabytes usable capacity. 2 parity drives, no hot spares in their SHR2 fault tolerance. So basically you can lose 2 drives and be fine. So one of the things I wanted to highlight was the ability to basically hot swap them, right? And allow these new drives to take over. Now, we don't have, it's going to take forever. It might take a week to initialize an array full of 10 and 14 terabyte drives. We're going to let it go. So there's a few things I wanted to showcase and make sure that I captured content for as I was putting the drives in. I want to capture the quick releases of the cages, the slides in the Synology, show you guys that stuff, but some B-roll stuff I wanted to capture as I was going through it. I don't think we can do too much of it here on stream. I guess we can. Let's do that Friday. There's literally nothing on this drive pool. I'm trying to think of a way. I need to think about this. I need to make sure I have a plan because I don't get to go back to the well once I yank these 1 terabyte drives out. So I was thinking about how can I go down, how can I eject some of the drives from this array, from this volume. You got to have a minimum of 4, I believe. 4 or 5 for an SHR2 for double disk parity. But I was trying to think of a way that I can remove, if I go to this one, I think there's a way to... You can deactivate the drive. That's what it is. And it'll remove the drive from the pool, meaning it'll flush all of its data off. It'll restripe it. So what I was thinking of doing is splitting this in half. Maybe even deleting the volume entirely and going down to like a regular RAID 5 volume. And showing you guys how I could replace this, basically. I would want to go through with these green drives and replace them with 10 and 14 terabyte drives. That's one thing I wanted to do. Then I wanted to show you how to extend an existing SHR2 array by adding new disks to it. One of the things I was hoping to do as well is migrate the existing volume that I have over here on Enterprise to the new array. And then we're going to come back behind that and replace those 2 terabyte drives that are in Enterprise with larger capacity drives. And there's a lot of testing and a lot of work and a lot of footage and a lot of things that we can capture and make great YouTube content out of it. Lump 10 gig on top of that, lump some video editing on top of all of that. Like, all of this is going to be content for me for the rest of the year. And huge thanks to Western Digital for sending the drives over. Full disclosure, Western Digital did supply these drives. We're looking at doing some really cool projects together. And we're trying to rope Synology into the mix because they've got a plan to do a giveaway for a fully populated Synology in the future. So they've reached out and wanted to work with me on that. But I got some work to do. We got to get these up and running. We needed to get the data center done, get the networking done next week. It's all storage, guys. I'm going to try and get this ASA up and running as well. If I can get that pass-through to pull the public IP through the DHCP front-end zone on the ASA, we're good to go. So that's just some late nights offline that I've got to work on. But yeah, we got drives. Got 8 new drives, and I believe there's some more on the way. So if not, there's over 10 terabytes usable capacity in that other one that are also 7200 RPM Red Pros in Enterprise right here. But guys, I think that's going to do it for today. That time went by fast. Holy smokes. Thank you guys so much for the help today with the networking stuff. It wasn't a lot. It wasn't too complex, but for someone like me that hasn't done this stuff before, it's very, very helpful. Punch a DMZ hole to your ASA from the ATT router. I don't think I even need to do that. I think I can just hang the security zone 0, leave DHCP on the outside interface, and on the inside interface, I can run everything off the ASA, basically. And all my mesh Wi-Fi just becomes access points at that point. It does nothing. And basically the modem does nothing. But plan B, I hear you. Plan B right now, or plan A, frankly, is to call AT&T and be like, yo, send me another modem. This BGW piece of shit needs to go. I don't need your all-in-one. The DMZ setting on the Aris is horrible. Oh, got it. Everything double nats. They will not relinquish control of anything with that Aris device. I don't know why it's such a hard thing to do. And so that's the phone call they're about to get from me, probably maybe this afternoon if I can pull it off. But I got to get out of here. I got to go do some real work, guys. Thank you so much for hanging today. This has been awesome. We got a lot done. I didn't get around to doing the Veeam graphics, so I got to do that later tonight. Noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific tomorrow. The final watch party of the week with VeeamOn, and then an after party with Rick Vanover, Senior Director of Product Strategy over there at Veeam. We got about 90 minutes of big tech demos to watch tomorrow morning, so make sure you're subscribed to the channel here. And yeah, I think all of you guys are. But we'll be back tomorrow at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific for the VeeamOn watch party and then after party with Rick Vanover. And then Friday, we're back here again. I think we might actually be able to work on some of the drives, or I might just casual it out, crack open a beer, and do some cable management, cleaning up that closet, getting some of the additional final pieces put together, get the Panduits all worked out, cables routed all to the right places, zip ties broken out, all kinds of good stuff. Oh, the one thing we didn't get to today, I got a 24-port trip-light patch panel. So right now I'm terminating everything into a 16-port Netgear switch that's being uplinked to the Ciscos we were working on today. Just a unmanaged jump switch, basically. So I want to get rid of that jump switch and punch everything down and do some little jumpers down into the switches. So that's something that we could potentially work on Friday as well. Before we start getting crazy into, I want to button up DatacenterDude's data center, be able to call it done, have the shelving and everything back in there, have the cabling managed, all that stuff. That's probably what we're going to work on Friday. So it's kind of going to be a hangout day. I'll put the big camera up, the big scene. You guys can watch me work in the closet. We'll jam some music, hang out, punch down some stuff to a patch panel. Might take about an hour. And realistically, there's only about 8 to 10. Nope, it's about 14 that we've got to punch down. So really doing the punch down work is more about tracing and finding what goes where. And having somebody on the other end with a line tester and a Sharpie to write on what it is. Excuse me. We'll have all that figured out. We'll see you guys Friday. Thanks for hanging out. Really appreciate it. Have a good one. We'll see you tomorrow for Veeam.